that I could request that they would have differently? Or is there anything?
Well, I suggest to all consumers, before you let that service technician, electricians, or any other trade walk through your front door in your home, in your personal home, that you insist on seeing his competency cards that he carries, not his employer, that he carries. And if he doesn't have one, then you should politely excuse him and let him get someone that you know that's been properly trained, because you don't know. I mean, unless you know the person personally, you don't. They may be the best electrician in the world, and they may very well have been sleeping on the bridge the night before. That's the facts we're dealing with today.
Wow. And what do these cards kind of look like? It's hard to
Well, they're issued by the municipal governments in Volusia County. Now, I think there's they had an interlocal agreement with like 8 municipalities, all under Volusia County, and it simply says that Steve Williams, in my case, is a master electrician certified in the area of electrical construction. And it's just like a driver's license, but it just it shows that you are who you say you are.
Okay, and does it have a picture on there or anything?
Does not. Does
No
not.
picture.
It just has your has a number. You know, a registered number that where you're registered with the county. And a lot of people don't have to have them. You know. But back in the day, whenever you talk about back when I first started, the electrical inspectors would walk up on a job site and check them. And if you didn't have one, they would shut the job down. They'd red tag the job until you, if it was a commercial project or whatever, until you had the right percentage of German licensed electricians on the project. That day is come and gone and long gone. And that puts a real burden on the inspectors as well, because there's, you know, in a larger project like a hospital or school, there's miles and miles of lighting and power and wiring, as well as control wiring and communication, sound, and everything else. And if it's inside those walls and it gets covered up, you know, it may or may not be installed properly. And, you know, some things can lay dormant until they're used, and when they put a load on them and start using this, when the problem may arise. So those things, it's not fair to say that the inspector can catch all that. You know, people have to know, should know what they're doing.
Now, recently, because you and I both serve on the Center for Business Excellence board, and the governor and others made a decision that though it had been a requirement that apprenticeships and the like yours do have an opportunity to be appointed to the board, they have removed that as part of the required grouping or membership. What's your take on that?
Well, it's insulting, quite frankly. I mean, it's as though we don't exist. We're an inherent part of the community. We provide a service to the community, you know, and I raised 3 children here, you know, and to say that I don't have there's no place for me on a decision-making board that helps other apprenticeship programs as well as businesses in town is ludicrous. I mean, I don't mind the fact that I share that seat with other business leaders and so forth, but to say that we're not part of this community, in essence, by his actions, that's what he's saying. And our union has been here since 1936, you know, and we've been active in the community, and we sponsored baseball teams and softball teams and Little League and all the things. We powered up all the ballparks out here, free gratis, if you will, for years around the community. And to say you guys don't need to be on these boards, to me, is insulting. But that did happen, and it's part of the strategy. And it's happening in every state that we discussed earlier that is looking to get rid of collective bargaining rights.
You know, it's, well, what is the reaction on the part of your membership to this? I know, because you're very strong, and you're, you know, you really are, like you say, you're proud to be a union member, and you know, this is something that you're just passionate about. Usually when it gets further from administration, sometimes people are, they aren't. The membership, and then looking at those that are maybe a little bit removed from the membership, like family members, and then you go out further from that. Do you see it as I feel that it probably is that those who are closest to the situation, like the union members, and then it goes out to the family and then the like, the further away or removed you are from that kind of connection, the less you understand and the less willing you are to believe that there is a place for union.
Certainly. I've got family members, and you know, I love them very much. But it's all about exposure. You know, it's all about your life exposures, and as you're going through your adult life as to what you're exposed to, and if you've not had any reason to be involved in any of these issues that we've been discussing, then you might look at it in that relationship that there's no need for them anymore, because we do have child labor laws, thank goodness. We do have a 40-hour work week, thank goodness. We do have an 8-hour work day, thank goodness. We do have unemployment compensation, workman's compensation, Social Security, and Medicare, and all these things that labor unions believed in and fought for, that we all take for granted today. Public school system, all these things we take for granted. And I can tell you, by my own experience, just watching what's happened in the last 45 years that I've been involved, is that if you don't believe in eternal vigilance over these things, they can go away.
That's right.
And all you have to do is pay attention, and you can see it whittling away a little at a time, and that's going to affect all of society, not just people that belong to labor organizations. But yes, I have that situation, and what's peculiar to me is some of my family members, we can't hardly have Thanksgiving dinner together because of some of these things, you know, and they say, well, and I am a proud Democrat as well, but you know, you Democrats, all you want is big government. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, you work for the National Guard, you are a school teacher, you're a sheriff's deputy, and I said, I'm the only person in this room that doesn't work for taxpayers. I'm working for the private sector. You guys had better hope for bigger government, not less government. Otherwise, you're not going to be having turkey for Turkey Day. You know, and it's like, are you kidding me? You know, so they can't connect the dots. I love them very much, but yeah, it does get a little disconcerting. And I am who I am, and I don't apologize for that at all. It's been good for me. It's been good for the people I know. I've watched children grow up, and electricians' sons and daughters, in some cases, become electricians behind them. And it's provided a good future and a good standard of living in an area which you can't say that very often in this area. You know, most of us raise our children and they have to leave the area to go make a decent living. And there's something wrong with that commentary.
That's true. That's true.
It shouldn't be the case.
Yeah, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that we do have employers and we do have others who just refuse to pay a decent salary, a decent living wage. And that kind of leads me to the comment that is often made about union workers, union contracts, that they cost too much. What's your response to that?
Well, I guess that depends on whether you believe in a corporate-driven economy or a consumer-driven economy. I personally believe in a consumer-driven economy, and for that to be the case, the employees have to make a decent standard of living so that they can purchase goods and services. If they don't have jobs, number one, and if they have jobs that they're barely making the ends meet and barely getting by, they don't have any funds that are left over at the end of the week to go out and purchase goods and services. And it's all, again, interconnected, and it keeps the big machine rolling. But I believe it's from consumers and purchasing goods and services. In that, you have to be able to have a decent standard of living. Do you want people that the employers are providing some form of health care for their employees, or do you want to go to Halifax Hospital where you can pay it through your tax base? One way or the other, people are going to get health care. The welfare situation you just referred to, I suspect that those folks that were polled on that have never had been in that position where they were placed in a position where they had to have that service provided for them. And unfortunately, I also suspect that the people think that you're guilty until proven innocent, which goes contrary to everything I believe in, and this country was founded upon. But anyhow, back to your question, I think that you do have to pay a little wage rate. A happy employee is a productive employee. Again, if you base it on negotiations, you can only negotiate what the economy will allow for. But I hate this race to the bottom, and I think we got caught up in. And then there's also a thing called, in my humble view, employment envy. There are those that don't have the proper training, didn't go through, didn't put the time in to go through the training that our members have gone through. And they see these guys as living fairly good and, you know, being able